clear to me that you don't understand prophecy. So when it come to pass, you won't be here to see. Glass of wine with something here to see, so I can get some sleep, cause I'm out here. It's clear to me that you don't understand prophecy. So when it come to pass, you won't be here to see. Glass of wine with something here to see, so I can get some sleep, cause I'm out here. I like my foreparents when I pray, it's not the Bay L, cause bulls lie. Pray that I am, put the I between the AM, and you the bullseye. Got pen, need paper the size of an acre. If hate in your heart, then you are a hater. They wanna see you D.I., just with the E, like that kid out of Shaker. Nothing about me is innocent, so my prayers are intricate. Give people the benefit of the doubt, but there's so much doubt I can't benefit. I'm stuck to this pad, my nigga. I'm bound to this ink, my nigga. Chained to this book, my nigga. And diamonds be in this link, my nigga. Seen lions wink, seen giants shrink, seen mountains speak, seen fire sink, but I ain't seen nothing like these prophecies. So I'm trying my best not to be out of sync, cause I'm out here, it's clear to me that you don't understand prophecy. So when it comes to pass, you won't be here to see. Glass of wine with something here to see, so I can get some sleep, cause I'm out here. It's clear to me that you don't understand prophecy. So when it comes to pass, you won't be here to see. Glass of wine with something here to see, so I can get some sleep, cause I'm out here. Mad 24, focusing on these tough times. Chapter full of these tough lines, you'll realize it come crunch time. You put your faith in 100K. Well, I put my faith in 1K. It's coming to pass while that 144K sing. With the multitude enough to fill this global ring. And once I found the truth, I had to hit the booth. Then I sought out words from some wise men, prophets with some prophecy, had me tied in. Shoes so big to feel, gotta climb in. He will pour his wrath, so do his will. Prophecy is like a cup and it will be fulfilled. Clear to me that you don't understand prophecy. So when it comes to pass, you won't be here to see. Glass of wine with something here to see, so I can get some sleep, cause I'm out here. It's clear to me that you don't understand prophecy. So when it comes to pass, you won't be here to see. Glass of wine with something here to see, so I can get some sleep, cause I'm out here. You don't understand prophecy. Clear to me. You don't understand prophecy. Clear to me.
I mean, Shalom. Is y'all paying attention to this?
Can you smell what he cooking?
While the people who have been frowned upon,
The poor,
oppressed,
honor minority,
persecuted, and deemed the lowest in the earth for finding out that they are actually the chosen people of the Most High God,
finding the truth.
the ones who have on the other hand had stature and dominion in the earth,
At the same time,
are having their confidence shaken to the core right now
poor right now.
in this system that they done had all their faith in.
At the same time
The
though.
tables is turning, oh yeah, baby, it is what it look like.
Get that part.
They're crumbling down.
Get that part.
They crashing.
That part.
They coming down.
That part.
But us,
Huh?
yeah, we going up.
Yeah, we going up.
We coming up on it, baby. We on the cusp. We on the cusp. They falling down, baby. We going up. We going up. Tell me you ready, baby. I wanna hear. Tell me you ready. Off out the moving, baby. It's a redemption. Most High Christ and said, I really can't take nothing from it. World can't do nothing for me, can't take nothing out of it, none of it. So I just been doing all the things I needed to do to live in the sky. Ain't never been no gain to me, I came in the truth to get right and die. So you been seeing me showing that love, steadily focusing on up above, telling you things that you didn't want to hear, but it really will pull you up out of the mud. We going up, looking at the world, knowing it's temporary. Oh, it's temporary. Built up on blood, grand body like I said, make no mistake, they got a lot on their plate, more than we got on our plate. We got the day, put all the folly away, baby then we gon' be straight. We going up, right, we got it, they're coming down, look at them dropping, they can't go to work. Ooh, that's a problem, cause they got this money and living they wallet, but we know how to go be broke. That vaccine gon' be all she wrote, keep that bug out back by the door. Into the pilgrimage we go, into the wilderness we go, yeah, Exodus for sure, yeah, sacred all let's roll. We've been waiting, we've been anticipating, we've been waiting, prophesying unto the wind on the daily. Nobody believing, out here looking crazy. Let the tables turn, let the tables turn, we get it together, baby. Yeah, we going up, we going up, we going up, going up, we going up, going up, yeah, yeah, going up, yeah, yeah, been down on the bottom so long, going up, ain't never gonna come back down no more, going up, 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 yeah, yeah, going up, yeah, yeah, been down on the bottom so long, going up, ain't never gonna come back down no more, going up, we going up. I knew that they would come carry my flesh away, that's why I put all my faith in the spirit, so they
currency in the global economy for nearly a century, and most of the institutions in the current financial system in the world today were created back in the 1940s at a time when much of the world was still colonized by the Western imperial powers. And they designed these financial institutions at the Bretton Woods Conference in 1944 in a way that guaranteed that the Western economies would have significant influence over the global financial system. And in particular, the United States was given veto power in international financial institutions, and the US dollar was made the global reserve currency. This has given the US and also some other Western countries very significant power in the global financial system. And Washington has turned the dollar into a geopolitical weapon. 1/3 of all countries on earth are under US sanctions, including 60% of poor countries, which are suffering under US unilateral sanctions, which violate international law. And in addition to imposing sanctions on these countries, which is a form of economic warfare, the US and European countries have also stolen hundreds of billions of dollars of assets belonging to these countries. They have frozen hundreds of billions of dollars of reserves of the central banks of Russia, Venezuela, Afghanistan, Iran, Libya, Syria, North Korea. The list of countries has been growing longer and longer. And moreover, the fact that the dollar is the global reserve currency has also given the United States what's known as an exorbitant privilege, because the US can continue to print more and more money and maintain a massive deficit with the rest of the world, and suck in more money and maintain a massive deficit with the rest of the world, and suck in the wealth and the value produced by workers all around the world. Workers in poor countries have to break their back mining minerals and then exporting those minerals in order to get dollars to pay for their imports. Whereas in the United States, the central bank, the Federal Reserve, it can just print those dollars. And these days, it doesn't even need to print physical paper. The vast majority of dollars in existence are just numbers on a computer screen. So this has allowed the US to maintain the biggest deficits that countries have ever run in human history and over decades. And the US pays for those deficits by selling debt in the form of US Treasury securities to foreign investors and selling other financial assets like stocks of US companies. And the fact that the dollar is the global reserve currency guarantees this demand for US financial instruments, which also inflates their value, which means that big billionaire oligarchs in the US have gotten richer and richer and have benefited from the fact that the dollar is the global reserve currency. So in short, this system has benefited Wall Street, it's benefited rich people in the US, it's benefited some rich oligarchs in other countries, and it has hurt the vast majority of people around the world. And that's why more and more countries are seeking an alternative to this system. And one of the main institutions, one of the main groupings of countries that is pushing for an alternative to the dominance of the US dollar is BRICS. BRICS consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and it has invited several other countries to join, including Ethiopia, Egypt, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. BRICS has a system in which all members are equal. They have equal representation and equal power. And every year, the chair country changes on a rotating basis. In 2024, Russia is the chair of BRICS, and Russia is hosting the annual BRICS Summit in the city of Kazan from the 22nd to the 24th of October. And for this summit, the Russian Finance Ministry and Central Bank prepared a special report that proposes plans to fundamentally transform the international monetary and financial system and to create mechanisms that will provide more opportunities for developing countries in the global south, formerly colonized countries, to democratize the global financial institutions so they no longer benefit the rich Western imperialist countries at the expense of the rest of the world. In this special report, Russia proposed the creation of what it calls the BRICS Cross-Border Payment Initiative, BCBPI. This would be a way for members of BRICS to de-dollarize their trade and their international investments and reserves. It would be a way to weaken the hegemony of the US dollar and provide alternatives for developing countries so they no longer have to rely on the US dollar and the United States. They no longer can be sanctioned by the United States. They can pursue independent development paths.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has hailed what he's calling a new multipolar world order after welcoming world leaders to the BRICS summit. The meeting in Russia is the first since the alliance of emerging market nations took on 4 new members: Egypt, Iran, Ethiopia, and the United Arab Emirates. On the sidelines of the summit, Chinese leader Xi Jinping and Indian President Narendra Modi are set to hold their first bilateral meeting in 4 years. UN Chief Antonio Guterres is also present. He will sit down with Russian President Putin to discuss the war in Ukraine, a decision that has angered Ukraine's government. Well, another leader making the trip to Russia for the BRICS summit is Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. His country is seeking to become the first NATO member to join the BRICS club, which likes to see itself as a counterweight to the West. DW correspondent Yulia Han has more on Turkey's ambitions.
Turkish President Erdogan is trying to forge new ties beyond his traditional Western allies. For some time now, he has shown interest in joining BRICS. The bloc led by Russia and China includes some of the largest emerging economies and views itself as a counterweight to the Western-led global order.
Turkey cannot achieve its goals only by turning towards the West. Turkey can become a strong, prosperous, prestigious, and effective country if it develops its relations with the West and East simultaneously.
But Turkey is a NATO ally and a candidate for EU membership. So what is Erdogan hoping to get out of BRICS?
His Excellency, Mr.
Ankara's ties with its Western allies are often strained. Erdogan has sought to carve out a more independent foreign policy, analysts say, and to bolster Turkey's global influence.
Erdogan's policy has always been a balancing act, wanting to have a foot in each camp, and also where he can, playing off the West against Russia, the US against China, and so on. So BRICS probably provides an opportunity for that.
Erdogan is also frustrated with the European Union. Turkey's decades-old membership talks have been stuck, mainly because of what Brussels says is democratic backsliding under Erdogan. This limits Turkey's ability to trade and has prompted Ankara to look elsewhere.
This decision is also informed by the difficulties that Turkey has had in upgrading its economic relationship with Europe. And there's built up accumulated frustration over that.
Membership in BRICS could help the Turkish economy that's been ailing under Erdogan in recent years. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. Founded in 2009, the economic bloc now has 9 members and generates more than a third of global GDP.
It could further facilitate the inflow of foreign direct investment from those countries, and here particularly China. And we've seen examples of recent interest from Chinese electric car manufacturers to invest in Turkey.
But BRICS is often described by its critics as a tool for Chinese and Russian influence and a platform for authoritarian governments. So what would that mean for Ankara's relations with the West?
It would be a big deal and really not something that European Union countries or Turkey's allies in the West would respond favorably. But from Turkish angle, I think it's a sign of desperation, trying to get the West to pay more attention to its needs.
A political gamble that could prove risky, and it doesn't seem clear at all whether or when Turkey would be accepted into BRICS. This year, the alliance already gained 4 new members. Some in the bloc have signaled they do not want further enlargement, at least for now. Erdogan might have to stay in the waiting line.
Take the G7 as a global powerhouse? These two groupings, each with its own unique composition and objectives, play important roles in international affairs and the global economy. So, how do these two groupings compare in terms of growth and dominance? Like this video and subscribe now to our channel, and let's talk about it. BRICS is made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, which are emerging economies that are growing rapidly. While the G7, which is short for the Group of Seven, is made up of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Combined, these countries are considered to be developed and have traditionally been dominant players in the global economy. Let's start with the origins of each group by explaining when and how the two groups were formed. As indicated, the G7 stands for the Group of Seven. This is an informal forum of the world's 7 largest advanced economies. The group initially started in 1975 as the Group of 6, made up of France, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, the United States, and West Germany. The group came together to discuss economic issues, which at the time included inflation and recession. Canada joined the following year. At the invitation of the G7 leaders, Russia was invited first as a guest observer and later as a full participant. After the 1997 meeting, Russia was then formally invited to the next meeting, and formally joined the group in 1998, resulting in the G8. Its admission was intended as a signal of cooperation between the East and the West, and the group became known as the G8, or the Group of Eight. In 2014, the then G7 leaders resolved to remove Russia from its grouping, based on what these leaders termed as a violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity by Russia. BRICS is an acronym that started as BRIC in 2001, which initially stood for Brazil, China, India, and Russia. This acronym was coined by Jim O'Neill, an economist at Goldman Sachs, in its research report titled Build Better Global Economic BRICS. In this report, Goldman Sachs claimed that, by 2050, the global economy would be dominated by the 4 BRIC economies. The main reason for such a claim was that China, India, Brazil, and Russia, now including South Africa, were among the fastest growing and emerging economies in the world. South Africa was added to this group of countries in 2010 to become BRICS. The main comparative advantage of this group of countries is its low labor costs, favorable demographics, and abundant natural resources. The objectives of BRICS include strengthening economic cooperation, promoting sustainable development, and enhancing global governance, while the G7's objectives include enhancing global economic growth and addressing global challenges. In terms of the GDP, the BRICS countries currently account for 32% of the global GDP against the G7's 30%, while the rest of the world contributes the remaining 39%. GDP, or Gross Domestic Product, is a key measure of economic activity and is used to assess the overall health and size of an economy. Essentially, GDP provides an insight into the economic performance, growth, and standard of living of a country. In terms of economic size, the BRICS countries are now catching up to the G7 countries. The combined GDP of BRICS countries, at purchasing power parity, is now larger than the G7 countries, and is expected to continue to grow faster in the coming years. This is due to the rapid growth of the BRICS economies, which are driven by factors such as strong population growth, rising incomes, and increasing urbanization. Speaking of population size, the 5 BRICS countries account for 40% of the world's population, while the grouping of the G7 countries make up an estimated 10% of the world's population. Another interesting stat is that BRICS countries currently represent about 26% of the total global land surface of the Earth. The remaining member states of the G7, on the other hand, represent 15% of the world's surface area. Some of the challenges faced by BRICS countries include inequality, corruption, and environmental degradation, while some key challenges for the G7 countries include economic disparities, climate change and sustainability, as well as the rise in nationalism. In conclusion, BRICS countries continue to have a growing political influence on the global arena. BRICS countries are also increasingly seen as a counterbalance to the dominance of the G7. BRICS countries have also been working together to promote their common interests on the global stage. For example, some BRICS countries have been critical of the G7's sanctions on Russia and have called for a more inclusive approach to global governance. It is without doubt that BRICS and the G7 are 2 important groupings that are shaping the global economy. The future of the relationship between BRICS and the G7 is, however, uncertain, but it is likely to be a major factor in the global economy in the years to come.
The BRICS grain exchange, spearheaded by Russia, represents a strategic initiative to transform the global grain market by enabling direct transactions between buyers and producers. This effort aims to minimize market volatility and reduce speculative trading. Central to this initiative is Russia's collaboration with China, highlighted by an unprecedented grain supply contract valued at approximately 2.5 trillion rubles, or $25.8 billion. This agreement, the largest in their bilateral food trade history, entails Russia supplying 70 million tons of grain to China over the next 12 years. The partnership seeks to bolster food and energy security amidst escalating geopolitical tensions. Additionally, the development of the grain terminal Nizhnoleninskoye Tongjiang at the China-Russia border will facilitate the efficient transport of Russian grain to China, reflecting the strengthening economic ties between the two nations. With China aiming to produce over 650 billion kilograms of grain in 2024, and BRICS countries contributing significantly to global grain production and consumption, this initiative could significantly reshape the global grain market, challenging traditional exporters like the United States, Canada, and Australia. BRICS nations collectively produce around 1.24 billion tons of grain annually, accounting for 44% of global production, and consume 1.23 billion tons, also 44% of global consumption. This substantial share underscores the potential impact of the BRICS grain exchange on global trade dynamics. The proposed exchange aims to establish a platform for direct grain trading, potentially bypassing established Western market structures and reducing dependence on the US dollar. This shift could alter global power dynamics in the agricultural sector and influence grain pricing similarly to OPEC's role in the energy market. While establishing this exchange presents challenges, such as ensuring sufficient liquidity and attracting private sector participation, the strategic benefits for BRICS countries, particularly Russia, are significant. The initiative aims to create a more stable and predictable grain market, potentially insulating member countries from the volatility often driven by Western trading platforms. In this video, we explore the strategic initiative of the BRICS Grain Exchange, analyzing existing agreements, global grain production volumes, and how they compare to those of the BRICS countries and the United States. The video provides an in-depth understanding of the various facets of this initiative, offering detailed insights into its implications and significance. We encourage you to watch the entire video for a comprehensive grasp of the strategic dimensions, agreements in place, and the broader impact on global grain markets. The BRICS Grain Exchange, initiated by Russia and endorsed by President Vladimir Putin, is rapidly gaining momentum and is viewed as a transformative move for the global grain market. This proposed exchange aims to facilitate direct transactions between buyers and producers, thereby reducing market volatility and enhancing stability and predictability. By enabling such direct trades, the BRICS Grain Exchange intends to lessen the influence of traditional commodity exchanges, which are often subject to speculative trading that can drive prices below production costs. Key global grain producers, including Russia, China, and India, support this initiative, highlighting its potential to significantly impact global trade. The Russian Union of Grain Exporters, Rusgrain, has been a vocal advocate, emphasizing the shortcomings of traditional exchanges where speculation often leads to prices falling below production costs. The envisioned BRICS Grain Exchange aims to be a modern, high-tech digital marketplace that is inclusive of non-BRICS countries. While it does not explicitly aim to counter the dollar, the possibility of transactions in other currencies, such as the Russian ruble, is considered crucial for its operation. BRICS members collectively accounted for about 42% of global grain production and 40% of global consumption last year, according to Russia's agricultural ministry. The recent addition of countries like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Iran, and Ethiopia further boosts the bloc's production and consumption capacity, enhancing its leverage in global markets. This consolidation under the BRICS Grain Exchange could pave the way for stronger inter-regional trade and potentially lead to the establishment of a broader BRICS commodities exchange. The creation of the BRICS Grain Exchange also aligns with Russia's geopolitical interests, reinforcing its role as a major supplier of grain and fertilizer. This would increase other countries' economic dependence on Russia, thereby enhancing its economic and diplomatic leverage. The strategic use of food supplies, as seen in Russia's actions during the conflict with Ukraine, underscores the potential power of such an exchange in influencing global food trade dynamics, including supply availability, access, and pricing. For traditional grain-exporting nations like the United States, Canada, and Australia, the establishment of the BRICS Grain Exchange could introduce increased competition. This would necessitate a reassessment of their agricultural policies and strategies to maintain competitiveness in a shifting global market.